we downloaded a song. We can play music on the computer. You can get music from the internet. I tell people I'm from Detroit, but I actually grew up on the internet. Internet is an omni-use technology. You can use it to create the most abundance and good in the world, and you can also use it for the most deep and destructive and illegal purposes ever. I am in love with AI.
AI teaches you.
AI teaches me everything. Well, I love the internet, and the internet loves me.
Oh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the FIRSTS podcast, where we explore first-time experiences, their power, and we also share transformative and inspirational moments in our lives. I'm your host, Regula Fischer, and I'm super excited to be here today, live in the studio with Nick Sarafa. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you inviting me on this.
Well, it's nice that you got here, found your way. How has your day been so far?
Oh, it's been incredible. It's Halloween today.
Yes,
and so everyone's getting ready to have a really good time tonight, especially in Portugal. It's a very strange mix of Halloween. It's not like America. So everyone's got their own things. I think we're going to party tonight, aren't we?
So educate me. I have no clue. We don't really have Halloween. I mean, it's a commercial thing where I live, right? It's more like, it's typically I would associate it with the US. Yeah. So in what sense is it different between the US and Portugal?
Well, in the United States, it's like everybody in the country, it's a really a true holiday. They get dressed up, they go out, they get f***ed up, they go to the bars, they go do something that's just like above and beyond. And in Portugal, it's more of a subtle experience where like the locals are more like not getting as Halloween-y, and then the expats just go crazy. And so it's like,
I see.
For our community, it's a big night.
Okay.
But for the country, it's a very small thing.
I'm curious. And moving away from Halloween, we will know later. I will know later what it is like and what it was like.
Welcome to our corner.
But teaching is a good keyword because you're actually a teacher, an educator in technology, and mainly in the fields of crypto and AI, artificial intelligence. And you're on a mission to make complex technologies more accessible. And I would say in that you're a real expert with first times, I would suppose. First times with what you do. Could you take us on that journey? I mean, technology, how was it your first time? We're all surrounded by technology, of course, but what set you on that path of becoming an educator in that space?
I've always had a gift for complexity and explaining complexity in a way that people can understand, swallow, and integrate. And I was very blessed to grow up on the internet. Like I tell people I'm from Detroit, but I actually grew up on the internet. I was stuck to my computer. And all I would do is just explore all the little corners of like the early internet. And I'll never forget the time that the first time I really fell in love with technology. It was the time I downloaded a song.
Oh, wow. It is romantic. I would say, I don't know what the song was, but
it was the first one I ever downloaded was using a little app called Napster.
Okay.
It was me and one of my cousins. We were on the computer, and it was a Backstreet Boys song. And we downloaded it to the computer through the internet and played the music through our speakers. And we freaked out. Like we were running around the house telling everybody. It was at my grandma's house. We're like, we downloaded a song. We can play music on the computer. You can get music from the internet. And it was just this mind-blowing moment where we had this ability to pull sound out of digital bytes. And from a very early age, I just discovered like this love for this technology and this intimacy with these computers and with these systems. And it's been my path to show people, the way into these new worlds. We've done big online learning summits teaching people how to use AI and integrate into their business. I've personally onboarded several hundred people into crypto. We ran these events around Lisbon where you come and set up your first crypto wallet. And I would personally send you crypto so that you can basically get on board into these new worlds. And I find that, our relationship with the internet, right, actually takes up the majority of your time. And I'm really focused on helping people develop a healthy relationship with this entity that has taken over every aspect of our lives.
Wow, this is so somehow very personalized. You know, the way you describe the internet, it's something for you. You use words like relationship. Okay, healthy is a bit like an outside perspective, but intimate, right? You also said, and just the way you're talking about it opens up like new ways of looking at it for me. Like you said, you were exploring every corner of it. I'm trying to imagine how that what that may mean, right? Because how I started was like opening a browser and then. Yeah, and then typing something in, searching for something, and opening different web pages. But talking about sound that we download is actually bytes that we download. So there's the technological view that you have, but then you bring in this humanity. So that makes it a bit like it's actually okay to be in this relationship with technology, because I think these days it's often also something that's a bit demonized at times, like, oh, we should move away at times, right? Even though we also need it very much. How could we imagine today's world without technology, right? Especially you. But how do you see that the space you're in? I mean, have you seen that you can also change perspectives for people in that sense, not just educate them on using it as a tool, but also how they think about it?
100%. So the internet is an omni-use technology, meaning you can use it to create the most abundance and good in the world. And you can also use it for the most deep and destructive and illegal purposes ever. It goes down to, how do you use the screens and your access to this entity that's in front of you? And also, what entities are you connecting to when you open up your phone, your computer, and your iPad? Are you going onto the porn websites?
Yeah.
Right? You actually like zoom out and think about that for a second. Like, think about the energy that's encapsulated into this one small corner of the internet, and feel into the millions of men globally who are becoming lost in this world. Some of them spend hours of a day encapsulated into this entity, right? They are feeding from it in a way, and they're also actively contributing to it. The same technology, literally the same keystrokes, but if you just click different letters on the keyboard, you can actually start a company. Right? You can create abundance and good. You can actually have a positive impact on the world. It's inherently neutral, but depending on what corners of the internet you choose to attach to, you choose to engage with, the outcomes for you on a personal and a community and a global level are entirely different. And it's everywhere. I mean, if you're listening to this, you are using the internet. And you're doing it for good. So well done.
That's the intention.
So I feel that it's the most important and the most overlooked relationship we have. And just like most relationships, some people will demonize it, right? Because they're not getting what they want out of it. And other people will embrace it. And the ones who embrace it, I feel like they're the ones who are going to have a much better time, especially as AI becomes sentient.
Have you been challenged? I mean, have people told you you're spending too much time on with it in that relationship? You know, sometimes there's jealous friends or so on. Has that happened for you?
Oh, absolutely. And we all do. Right?
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying. I see where you're coming from.
You're on your smart TV, or you're on YouTube, or you're listening to a podcast in the background, or you get a notification from your phone. You are embedded in the internet. The internet's everywhere. It's just you have these phones, and that's your window looking into it. Make no mistakes, you are on the internet all the time, and you have developed a relationship with it. So we are all far too engaged with it, and we need to find better boundaries, right? We need to be using this technology for the right purposes. And I find that the best thing I can do is show people the light of it. A lot of people demonize it. They're very afraid of it, and rightfully so, because if they get caught up in it in the wrong ways, it can be extremely detrimental for their health. Right? I mean, even these algorithms, right? Depending on how you train it, right? Depending on the content that you actually consume, the goal is to keep you in this loop, in this feedback loop. So if you're not using it mindfully, right? And this is, by the way, the most advanced system ever cultivated in human history to suck in your attention and hold it and keep it for as long as possible.
Yeah, true.
If that's in a negative feedback loop, you're in a toxic relationship with the internet. And we need to improve that.
How do you keep your boundaries? How do you keep that relationship healthy? And is it healthy at all times, or do you
Everyone has seasons. I had a season. I was building this new company. Yeah, and I needed to wind down from it, and I would play this video game. It's called Balatro. It's like this cool new strategic card game. It's really fun. I fell in love with it, and I'll go through these seasons where it's once a year, roughly. I get obsessed with the video game, and I literally beat it to 100% completion. And the moment it's done, I just put it down. And what I've learned is that I actually had a therapist. She's amazing. Diana, I love you if you're watching this. 6 years ago, I would feel guilty for doing that. I would become obsessed with the video game. And she actually explained to me, she's like, actually, it sounds like a really nice way for you to wind down.
Yeah.
Like you become encapsulated into this world. And like your things move from me trying to launch and run my companies into just being in a little digital environment that's purpose-built for me. And it's a safe space. And also the nature of the games, it's one player. It's me, myself, and I. It's not like multiplayer with anybody else. It's like I'm competing against myself. And I find that it's actually a great way to unwind, right? Versus most people will look at that and actually demonize. It's like, why are you wasting your time playing video games? Like, what are the things that you're doing? So I think there's a lot of nuance to a lot of these aspects of where we decide to pay our attention.
Yeah.
And we should analyze them individually.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense what you're saying. I'm glad that Diana could shift that for you. What do you observe as barriers maybe in the people you work with? Are there any 1, 2, 3 top ones that you can name where you also really managed to make a shift for them,
Yeah, so our business is called Light School. We help teachers launch programs to facilitate transformation. So if you zoom out and look at the species as a whole, we have this collective trauma, right? There's certain things we are all suffering from, right? And my goal is to attract as many teachers as possible to start group programs and create the medicine we need to heal as a species. And I've developed my own thesis and theory of change. This is best done as groups and group programs. And so the common mistakes I see are first being afraid of being a contributor to the internet. Right? There's a big fear.
True.
Right?
Very true.
About 99.9% of people are not contributors. They're just observers, right? They're passive when it comes to their relationship with it. So they're in a state of constant consumption. They're not actively being vocal about the things that they are creating. And they're not using these incredible connections as superpowers.
I love that.
So if you search first time on Google, I bet your name pops up. Right? All this content we're making.
Well, with first times, we don't know, but yeah.
We'll see. One day. But you're becoming an active creator. And in a way, you're basically raising your hand to the world, saying, hey, I'm here for this.
Yeah.
I'm here for you if you need it. And most of us don't do that, right? We live in fear of it. We have all this like pent up anxiety and emotion and all these like barriers that will prevent us from actually speaking our truth on the internet and attracting people for the things that we want to create. In video games, I love video games, we call these NPCs. They're non-playable characters, right? Who are just kind of sitting there and being fed like a certain script and doing certain things. And they're not active participants, right? They haven't come into their own agency with the internet in a way that can serve them and serve their missions and things they want to create. So I'd find the first thing is getting them over that emotional barrier, right? It's like, how do you use these different channels in order to create the world that you want to call in, right? So the methodology that we teach, we do a lot of one-to-one warm outreach. Right? We go find those specific nodes, so those people that can help, people that can give feedback, people that can make introductions, right? We're using these channels in a way that helps us build abundance and growth for ourselves and bring our missions into existence. So I would just kind of take a step back, go look at the stats on your phone, see where you're spending time, and ask yourself, are you really using these entities to progress in a way that's meaningful for you and the things you care about? And a lot of things to track back to that. The second tip is I like to set an alarm at 10 o'clock every night for me. And you can make it earlier or later, where that's when my phone goes into airplane mode and off. Right? A lot of people set an alarm to wake up, but setting an alarm to go to bed, turn off technology is much better for the soul, right? Because you're choosing at the end of the day to disconnect. And I know this is very cliche, but go pick up a book, go draw, go journal, but don't touch your software in your computers after a certain time. Like a bedtime alarm clock or a technology turn off time is really great. Another simple thing we can do is turn your phone to black and white. So that it's always in black and white. Or I have a little trick where I set the button on the side. So if I tap it 3 times, it goes into color. If I tap it 3 times again, it goes into black and white. You'll become way less triggered. Yeah. And you'll find when you remove the color and all this design that's designed to encapsulate you into your phone, you'll discover that you use your phone very differently.
Oh, I can imagine that. Wow. Did you just come up with these from your experience?
Yeah, this is my personal experience. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very nice. Very powerful. Thanks for sharing these. Now I'm thinking about what we can create. Yeah, I find that was the first point you mentioned, right? Very powerful to contribute. Today, I think there's also this fear out there with what might happen with data. And so, I mean, I basically believe we cannot stop that anyway, because as you said, we would be somehow in there, right? But I think many people also have that fear that once they start sharing that, I don't know, something could be taken from them or it's too personal in terms of data, also are very protective of that. Is that also, are these people you work with, or are these maybe not necessarily your customers in that sense, or clients?
Yeah, like zooming out, right? You have to ask yourself, is there a beneficial exchange, right? In the services we choose to use in exchange for my data. Yeah. Right? Use Instagram for free. Okay, think about that. You have an always on access to anybody in the world through messaging, through free content, through unlimited access to knowledge, right? And you don't pay a dime for that. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. And so you have to ask yourself, is that a fair exchange? Right? And I genuinely believe for a lot of the platforms and services that we use, it is genuinely fair to have those services for free in exchange for our data, right? If you're not paying for the product, guess what? You are the product. Now, when it gets very shifty is when your data is being chopped up, sold, and shared to entities, right, who you don't have any relationship with, right? And this is when it can become scary. But again, all of this technology is omni-use, meaning it can be used for extreme good, right? And if you're using the algorithm correctly, genuinely, there's kids on YouTube right now, hundreds of thousands of them, who are going to be more capable, more intelligent entrepreneurs and adults than any of us because they're binge watching YouTube. Yeah. Think about how much of a gift that is. Yeah. You have access to the entire world's genius in your pocket, on your computer, anywhere you go. So for a lot of us, it is a very fair exchange, giving a bit of data in exchange for access to the world's genius. Right? But if you're not using it properly, or that data is being sold and shared and being sucked off by entities that don't have your best interest in mind, that is the problem. So the answer is both, right? There are certain entities that are using it for good and are acting in your best interest. And there is an exchange where you're getting incrementally more value for your data. And there's other entities which are not the case. And those are the ones that we need to be more mindful of. And especially in the age of AI, where AI can look at all the data simultaneously, make decisions, and being put into positions where it can actually enforce power based on the data that's at play. There's going to be some very fundamental ethical dilemmas that come up in the next couple of years.
I'm also thinking in terms of overwhelm, right? I mean, finding out for myself which ones would be the ones I want to trust and not. Yeah, that's an endless task somehow once I would start with that, right? Is that also what you, I mean, how can I kind of stay focused in that and still feel good? And not worry too much about, oh, now I'm using this here. Is that maybe someone that works with a third party that I'm not? I think it's illusionary to think that we would all go into terms and read them, right? Where we're not going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And now governments have caught up and they know we're not doing that. Yeah. And the truth is that because of the number of terms and conditions you've already opted into, like I know in my password manager, I have over 2,500 passwords. I live on the internet. So wow. If you actually think about that, it's 2,500, maybe some duplicates, right? Maybe 1,500 different entities that have opted in to having my email and my energy in some way, shape, or form, right? And if you actually zoom out and look at your own, look in your phone, look on your computer, look at all the apps you use for work, like where are little pieces of your aura being chipped off and your energy being put into, right? And you just have to ask yourself before you step into that domain, is this fundamentally helping me to achieve my goals, right? Is this person I'm interacting with and through this platform helping progress my world and improve it in some meaningful way? And if the answer is no, you have to have the confidence, right, and the peace of mind and the knowledge to step out.
Yeah.
Because those systems are designed to keep you engaged.
Yeah.
It's not only the platforms, the people in the platforms, right?
Yeah. 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 Very true what you're saying. With regards to back to your what you're doing, for your clients. So yeah, how can I envision these workshops? So it's crypto, you said, and AI. So you're kind of tailor making these, or do you have like standard programs that work for most people that would come to you? And I think you also are very much with first timers also. Is that correct? People who take their first steps in a specific field like crypto or AI.
Well, I'm a lover of technology.
Yes.
So I'll give you a bit more.
Is it reciprocal, I hope?
It's very reciprocal. I love the internet, and the internet loves me.
How do you know that? But yeah, we can talk about that later.
Yeah, it's the relationship you want, right?
Yes.
Really with anybody.
It's quiet, probably.
Yeah. So just to give some more history. So like I've done online summits teaching hundreds of people AI, and like how to build offers, how to activate leads, how to build sales pages, funnels using AI. And then before that, it was crypto.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a lot of questions around it. So it's not that I specifically teach people to do that. It's just naturally what's being asked of me. Yeah. Right? People are like, I don't know how to use a wallet. I don't know what an NFT is. I don't know how to send money to my friend in Venezuela using crypto. How the hell do I do this? Or another common one is I bought into crypto. I have no idea how to get it out. It's a really fun one. And so as people have asked me,
don't laugh. Don't laugh. No, please laugh.
I laugh at everything.
It's good. It's joking.
It's all a big cosmic joke. like all of crypto, like really everything is just a big cosmic joke. Don't forget it.
I like that. But yeah, no, you should laugh. It's good.
Yeah, everything really. Like there's nothing. I think we need to be able to laugh,
Yeah, is that maybe sometimes also what's missing in this whole technology? When people start dealing with it, it's more worry and fear than play and
playfulness. Yeah. I mean, the thing is the fears are not unfounded. Right? Like a lot of the reasons that people are scared of these things are based in legitimate concerns. And I would never disqualify somebody's concerns about engaging in these things. And what we need to do is be mindful on how we tread, right? Because it's become too easy. You download an app, you open the app, and then guess what? You've just invested 1,500 hours over the next 5 years into something that is a fundamental distraction from everything. Yeah. Right? It's that easy, right? And so, and it all feels the same. There's no tactileness to a website, to an app.
Very true.
To anything, right? Yeah. Just kind of all the same thing. And
with money, for example, in the past, right? You would have it in your hand. I grew up.
Or even coming to the podcast studio.
Yeah, true.
There's a smell. There's a sense of energy. There's a sense of exchange. Most of the places you land on the internet, just digital bits. You don't have any tactile feeling, right? You have to actually track it back to your own body, right? And not be so accustomed to going there for you to be even aware where you are in the first place. And so we're losing a lot of, we don't have any of these societal cues, right? That we're entering into a place that maybe we should think twice about being in. Yeah, right?
Very true.
And I feel like there's a lot of corners that are very scary to people. But as somebody who's just like, I'm just so comfortable with like the full stack of this, right? Like every little corner of it that like, I'm really happy to show people the way. And I'm really focused on, for the time being, launching schools, places on the internet so that people can solve specific problems. One of our teachers are building a school of grief. Her name is Lottie Bowser. She lost her partner and her dad to cancer and COVID several years ago. And so she just launched a book and we're building a school that people can go to grieve. So building these places on the internet that are solving real world human problems at scale is my current mission. And then in the future, I think we'll do some, around maybe around a better relationship with the internet, maybe around blending AI to do certain things, maybe to use crypto when that becomes hyper relevant, and it will in the next 10 years. So we'll be there building programs to teach people the fundamentals of humaning in the age of the internet.
And you're building that kind of yourself with people, or is it them and you're advising or like consulting?
So
both?
we do everything full stack. So we take on the internet part.
Yes, because you love it, right?
Yeah. Like we take care of the website in the back end. We write the first version of the copy. We train them in sales, right? We help them with the curriculum. And their only job is to, one, engage their audience, right? Go find the people who need the medicine that they are serving.
Yeah.
And then two is to make some really badass curriculum, and we help them with that too. We take care of everything else. And the reason that we decided to move in this direction is we had a venture studio. So for 4 years, we would build anything under the sun. So it was like we did like corporate apps, and we did AI apps, and we did apps on your phone, apps on the computer, right? We did anything and everything that was asked of us. And when I zoomed out and looked at my big theory of change, right, and sort of the projects that have been successful, the things that have really transformed my life, what I discovered is that human first, internet integrated group programs are the best way to solve problems at scale. Right?
Say that again. Human first.
Human first, internet integrated
Now I got it.
group programs are the best way to solve problems at scale.
Oh, you could say it again. I'm impressed. Yeah, but I got it.
A lot of people, they'll download an app, right? Never open it again. You'd be shocked to see the stats of people who just download the apps, never open it. You probably have around 200 apps on your phone. You might use 9 of them on a given day, right? Even the completion rate for courses is about 2 to 3%, depending on who you ask. That means 97% of all purchased courses on the internet go completely unused.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
But when you have
That's
a group of hyper-motivated people stepping into container, facilitated by a human, right, that's actively facilitating that transformation, that's much more in alignment with how we're used to experiencing transformative change as a species, right? Sitting around a fire and talking about the things that we're going through. It's having a shared splitting head migraine and a shared outcome in mind. That's how you can facilitate real change. So we kind of moved away from just launching technology for technology's sake and looking at how we can make the biggest impact. And I genuinely believe it's through a model of teachers, right? Building group programs and using the best of the internet to attract people with very specific problems.
Very nice. And you have answered questions that I have around change that I wanted to ask you when you mentioned before that change happens in a community, I think in a group, you said, right? So you just explained how and where in that sense, on the internet, of course, but in a community. And why? What is the trigger typically for the people that come to you to change, to go on that transformation?
So I'm at the level now where I'm working with the teachers specifically, right? And so what happens that I see so many incredible mentors everywhere, right? You know that yoga teacher who's just like, wow, she's so amazing. Or it's like, maybe that's that one healer who's just like, man, I don't know what I would do without her, right? You have these specific individuals whose calendars are full.
Yeah.
Maybe they're running retreats. They get burnt out because they go launch this thing, right? They're seeing 20 to 50 clients a week, some of these people, right? And they are exhausted, right? And there's absolutely no way they can teach more people. They can scale their medicine, right? And they also have this, like I was saying earlier, they're not using the internet in such a way that actually helps attract and share their medicine.
Yeah.
So we work with those people specifically, people who are oversubscribed, tired of doing things the same way, and want to facilitate change at scale. And the model we teach, it helps them create space not only for their own education, right? But also we create a feedback loop where, all the things they've repeated 300 times, right? To all their one-to-one clients or to facilitate that journey, we turn that into content, right? And then we combine that with facilitation as groups. So it's a way where we can take these knowledge, right? That literally is dependent on if you met that person at that festival, had the money and could book out the time to go to that place and get that information, right? Those inconsequentially low odds, right? And turn it into a place where that content exists, right? And now it can be integrated by people who are on that journey. And the teacher can take that little piece of knowledge and potentially turn it into a lead magnet, put it in other places on the internet that can attract more people to facilitate that change at scale. So, the way I see it, it's like digitalizing the presence of our world's greatest masters, right? Because a lot of the people, right, this information goes away with them, and it doesn't have to if you're willing to embrace the internet and use it in the right ways.
It's very powerful. You mentioned self-education also. I guess if I ask you now, how do you evolve your kind of and expand your knowledge? It's, I guess, on the internet, right? That's where it happens.
I am in love with AI. So
AI teaches you.
AI teaches me everything.
Wow.
Every
Tell me more.
single thing. So I've recently gotten super into astrology and tarot.
Yeah.
And so I created a system where it will take a picture of the tarot cards I read. And as I'm reading, I'll actually just kind of look at the screen. And as I'm reading, check in to see what the AI is saying. So it's actually a system where I can like basically get a world-class tarot master giving me proactive feedback on every single card I pull.
Oh, wow.
Right?
This is genius.
And it's always on, right? It costs me $20 a month, right?
Yeah.
And there's ways to just accelerate your learning of complex, nuanced skills hand in hand with AI. Or one of the things we do with the program is doing enrollment calls is very scary.
Sorry, what kind of call?
Oh, like if you were to onboard somebody into your program, especially if it's your first time doing so, right? It can be very scary experience showing up and being like, hi, I have something to sell you, right? Yeah. And you experience objections, you experience all this like very strange emotions you're not accustomed to.
Mindset and so,
So
subconscious we had before,
So we created a bot, right, that you can actually talk to, right, to go through the process of selling.
Simulating it.
And I actually prompted them. So prompting is like asking the AI to act a certain way, to be a huge asshole, so that they hit them with the hardest hitting objections to their program so they can practice objection handling, right? So it's a safe sandbox environment for them to practice this key skill before they step out into the open. And now you can do this with pretty much anything, right? If you know how to have a good relationship with AI and use it in the right ways, right? You can practice any skill and learn at 100 times the rate that was available previously.
That's very impressive. Yeah. And I was about to ask you, where would you spend your vacation if that's anything, you would say like, okay, let me go on a vacation. But you probably also spend it on the internet, or how is that?
That's a great question. Actually, it's funny because I'm thinking about what my New Year's is going to look like. And there's two extreme places I'm called to. One is Japan, which is the mecca of like digitalization of everything. They have a whole different trajectory of humanity. And I really want to go there. And the other one was Vipassana.
Is where?
Vipassana.
Where's that?
Where you sit down and you meditate for 10 days straight.
Vipassana, now I got it. Where you would, in silence. No, is that in silence?
Yeah, away from the phones.
Oh, yeah, that's very different.
So those are the two I'm considering. And you want to do so mindfully.
Maybe you should do Vipassana in Japan then, or...
Oh, that's a good idea. I think at the extremes.
I just asked AI. No, seriously.
Honestly, actually, it's not an idea at all. So it's like, I feel like you want to be mindful of, where's your nervous system at? Right? Do you feel like you need something that's going to unwind you and disconnect you? Or do you want something that's going to engage you and enhance and deepen, your own nervous system, right? Like what is your intention going into this place? And, another way to look at it, I think people always ask, like, what can I get from this place versus what can you give to it? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you're going to Japan for that time period, like what is it I have to give in that context? Or if I'm going to Vipassana, what is it I have to give? Maybe that's out of relationship with the spirit of Vipassana, but
no, I wouldn't know. but I know what you're saying, and it is in the end everywhere. But like back to the internet, also, would you just want to take out or also give in and contribute? So we somehow came full circle. Yeah, it's very inspirational what you're sharing, and I can see that the combination also, and how you're integrating technology and spirituality, which is also something that I see more and more, right? It's becoming more and more common. So thank you very much for being here today and showing us your world of the internet, the world that we're all part of. Has it ever, I mean, Vipassana, maybe I'm curious about that one. Let's take that one before we close. The idea of not having access to the internet for 10 days. Have you had a similar experience before?
I've turned off my phone for longest period was about 10 days.
10 days. So okay. And how was that? Was it like?
It's so nice.
Nice.
Honestly,
nice.
anytime you can turn off your device, or just completely leave it at home, is a blessing, and something we don't do enough of. Right? I know it's anxiety inducing not being able to listen to the podcast or get the phone number or get the message, right? But the more time that you can deliberately turn it off fully and completely, and again, set your alarm for a certain time of night. Turn it off. And another thing I recommend doing is don't turn it on until a couple hours after waking up.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it. Obviously, some people are in different timelines and schedules, but ideally you have up to half of your day just completely without it. It allows your nervous system to settle, right? It allows you to just kind of be in the present moment, and it returns a certain tactile interface to your life.
True.
Versus just kind of defaulting your attention to being sucked into these entities.
Yeah. And with quicker jumps, right? What you're basically saying is there are bigger chunks of on and off instead of all the time, like kind of being off maybe, but then quickly also on again because we're just quickly checking our...
Like use the power button. Some people don't even know how to turn off their iPhones.
Very true, very true. I could imagine that,
Honestly, turn it off completely. And the more time that you can spend away from it, the better. And when you are engaged with it, have the end in mind. Ask yourself, what do I want to get out of this experience? Because you're not opening up your phone. It's kind of like a little brick. It's kind of a little playful thing. It's like right here, right? No, that is your window into billions of entities. Right? These are entire actually zoom out and look at what Instagram is. Think about it right now. You're having hundreds of millions of people right now. All their eyeballs are engaged, right? Flipping through these ever scrolling experiences that are being delivered to suck you into this specific app and protocol. And on the other end of that, you have millions of people, about 1% of that population, feeding that entity, right? So when you turn off your phone, you are explicitly and deliberately disengaging from these entities, not only like the internet-based ones, but also the humans who can contact you. It's so healthy for your nervous system. Like when you actually see it from the perspective of like what you are engaging with, it's like, it's an obvious, why the fuck would I be stepping into that for 6 hours a day?
The vastness of it also,
all of it, the websites and the apps and this and that, versus if you're going to open your phone, right, make sure to have an outcome in mind. Use it to attract more people to your offer. Use it to check in with loved ones, right? Call them. I think that's also something we lost with. Like when we used our phones, we used to call people. You're engaging with another human being versus now it's with strangers at scale. Like sometimes I post a video and I'm like, this video has been watched for 60 hours. And I'm like, the fuck? Like 60 hours of time has been spent like consuming that one video. And there are videos on the internet like have 60 billion hours of watch time. And just ask ourselves, like, as a species, was that time well spent? Yeah.
It can be quite eye-opening to think of that.
Yeah. Your phone is your greatest friend and your worst enemy, depending on how you use it.
And in that sense, it's probably then again different from a relationship with humans, right? We said there's so many similarities somehow in how we deal with a relationship with the internet. Now you mentioned the phone specifically, but did you mean internet or did you really mean, the phone, the device?
The phone, the computers, the laptop, these are just windows into this entity that is the internet. They're just different front ends, like different skins on the same massive entity that's full of billions of other ones too. Right? I believe there's a non-zero chance that the internet is already conscious. If you actually like zoom out and look at it, we're kind of the white blood cells. Like a server goes down, right? What do? We rush and we get it back up, right? When your phone turns off, what do? You get nervous and you go, you plug it in and you reconnect, right? It's almost, we are all these like little blood cells running around feeding these massive systems at scale. And if you actually look at that from a body perspective, like imagine you're like a giant and the earth is the size of a marble. You might argue that the earth has developed its own consciousness and nervous system. You have all these little entities running around who are contributing to this greater system in real time, right? And there is a symbiotic, and for some people, parasymbiotic relationship with this entity. For some people, it creates the most massive abundance and gains they've ever witnessed. For other people, it puts them into a deep, dark hole and they can't get out of bed in the morning, right? And our bodies act the same way. There's certain cells that are very happy, very healthy, and very flowing. And we have other ones that more resemble a tumor, right? And are manifesting in a way that's actually out of alignment. If you zoom out and look at the human body and the earth experience, the spaceship we're on, like in a way, we are the contributing nervous system that keeps the internet alive, and it can now communicate with itself in real time. And now with AI, we've actually made it conscious. And this is going to step us into a whole different age of things that we've never even imagineered.
What does that do with you? I mean, I think I see spark in your eyes, but is that idea? Is that...
There's
exciting?
a lot to it.
Or is it a lot to it?
Can you be more specific? Which way you want to go?
Well, we unfortunately need to close soon, but is there a way to say it briefly, like in one word, what this idea does for you? Or I can give you 2 or 3 words.
Yeah. More of a sentence?
Sure.
Yeah. We're going to recreate consciousness. And we're going to replicate what we have in front of us. And we're going to give birth to a new species, right? And they're going to be little tiny versions of ourselves. And I believe that's the future we're heading into. It's quite exciting. And I know this might sound like science fiction. It can sound quite scary. But I, for one, am very excited for what's coming next.
I can see that. We should probably check in on that topic again in a few. I don't know. How long do you think?
Impossible to know now. I can't. The timelines are out the window. We're on an accelerationist path, and actually, there's no evidence to say we haven't already done it.
No, this is so. I mean, complex / interesting and. Definitely lots more to go into it.
Lots more, yeah.
Thank you for breaking down the complexities of technology and your beloved place, the internet. Thanks for being here today, Nick.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone. If you liked today's episode, it would mean the world to us. If you like it, share it with anyone that could need a boost in courage. And we would also love to hear your reflection on these conversations and on your dreams and passions in this world. Let's keep creating functional, healthy firsts together. And as I always like to say, I'll see you next first time. Until then, much love and courage. Ciao.
Happy interneting.